I had a little postscript to the Peter Vincent video. He did it, made me aware of some things that I never would have seen were it not for him. And he had a really strange kind of intelligence about him. And so someone once said to me about trust that he either trusted someone or he didn't. And I said, I'm not like that. I said, there's some people, and some people I know that if you left a tenner on your table, and then you went for a piss, they might snatch it and go off and buy some drugs with it. But if they saw you getting beaten up in the street, they'd jump in and help you out, regardless of the odds. And so some people you can trust one way, but you can't trust the other way. You know, it's I've always felt that. And Peter, I could trust both ways. Guarantee if I was getting a battering, he would have lost his life in trying to help me out. You know, he was. And I know many people who would, good friends, but they would shy away and try and pretend that he couldn't see me getting beaten up by the imaginary bunch of lads in the scenario I'm suggesting. So yeah, he was completely trustworthy. I trusted him on all levels. He was a good man, and he was a very gentleman. He may not have been a gentleman, but he was a gentleman. And he did teach me a lot. He came from Askin, and I knew about the miners' strike. I'm from Leeds, but Leeds is it's a city, and it's not played any part in the miners' struggle. You know, I mean, the only thing I know is that we used to call Wigan fans the pie eaters, because there was an article, the Great Strike of 1923. There was an article in the newspaper because the Wigan miners became blacklegs, scabs, and went back to work. And the headline in the paper was, "Wigan miners eat humble pie," and that's why Wiganers are called pie eaters, because they bottled it and let down the rest of the strikers. Which is why they're called pie eaters. They now embrace it and try and pretend it's something to do with pie shops and stuff, but it's not. It comes from a newspaper article. I'm not suggesting that people from Wigan are going to let you down in life. I've got a huge respect for the rugby team and what they achieved. What they did, 10 years in a row in the Challenge Cup was absolutely incredible. Yeah, they were the first fully professional side. Yeah, they had that advantage. But they were of a standard of rugby of either code on the planet that was way ahead of any other. And this was finally crystallised when the greatest Bath side, what was regarded as the greatest Bath rugby union side of all time, played Wigan in the cross-code challenge, which was in 1976, when they finally, because of course rugby union players had been paid for years, been given cars and seats on boards of directors that they never had to turn up for, and there was way more money in rugby union than there was in rugby league, but they pretended that it was an amateur sport played just for fun, because that was the reason the rugby league broke away, was because the northern miners and dockers and industrial workers used to work 6 days a week, and they were asked for their loss of earnings from not going in on a Saturday be given to them, so that they had a full wage, because they were entertained. So that's all they were asking for. It wasn't to be greedy or so. And but the Association Football already escaped the hands of the establishment and they really didn't want rugby to, so they made draconian laws that lasted for a century, where any rugby union player, if so much as seen on a rugby league ground, would be banned for life, from playing rugby union, and that's how serious they were. And there's the other stories, of course, like the Nazis, the British government in the Second World War that capitulated to the Germans, and then the Germans also banned rugby league in the south of France, and encouraged rugby union. And of course, the rugby league players went to become resistance fighters. And there's the proud stories of in Africa, where South Africa, where the rugby union. Anyway, I won't go on about the moral superiority of rugby league over rugby union, because it's different days now, and the past means nothing to a lot of people. But it means something to me. I mean, I've there was a moral duplicity in the rugby union system, where the players were getting, a lot big rewards for playing, and to be fair, they were crap. And then in that cross-coach challenge, the score, if I remember it rightly, was 82 points to 6. And this is the best Bath side of all time, and they lost 82-6. And let that sink in. And it's no surprise now that Ireland, coached by Andy Farrell, France coached by Sean Edwards, England defence coach Kevin Sinfield. I'm not saying rugby league's still ahead of rugby union, because the two sports have changed, and it's very difficult to change codes now, because your impulse to do something, to hold on to a ball or to release a ball, is a split second. You don't, and to change codes successfully is a very hard thing. If you have done it well, I mean, there's been Lewis Jones for Leeds, the one who does what's he called, Jiffy, Jonathan Davis. He's a poor commentator, rugby league commentator, but he was a good rugby league player, good rugby union player. He did it. Who else was there? Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, just recording some. Yeah, the number of them being successful doing it, and good, and all good to them. And it's nice to see the rugby league coaches, because I mean, I think they know, they still know, don't they? That we're, what the truth is. Rugby league's ahead, isn't it? It's the superior coach. I mean, you may not like it. You may be used to the line-outs and massive scrums and the ball being in play for 40% of the game instead of 80% in rugby league. You may not like the free-flowing, passing, moving game, and the simplicity of it. Some rugby union fans say it's too simple a game, which it is. It is a simple game. But I think that's its beauty. I mean, the same with football. That's the reason soccer's so popular, is because it's just 11 men and a guy in the goal, and they've got to try and score. And there's only really the offside rule that, apart from physical fouling, and it's that simplicity. You can take a child of 3 or 4 to watch a game of football and they will understand it. Whereas rugby league, it takes a little bit more understanding. With rugby union, you've got to fucking have a degree in fucking sports science to understand the minor infractions that can take place in a maul or a ruck. But yeah, so I mean, I don't like watching rugby union very much myself. I think it's a good game for kids to play, because you can get fat kids. Little fat kids can, be props and stuff, and tall lanky kids can go in the line out, and people who run fast can go out on the wing, and there's room for everybody in rugby union. It's great for that. It's a really great game for kids to play, but as a spectacle, it's dull. It's dull. Yeah, and Peter Vincent was a rugby league fan, and he was a boxer for a short while, and I felt a bit guilty after that last video about him, because he had qualities, some really great qualities about him. Like I say, I would trust him, and he'd put his life on the line for you if he saw you getting beaten up. You know, you can guarantee it. He wouldn't even shiver for a second. You know, it just wouldn't cross his mind. And I'm not saying he'd pinch money off you, because he wouldn't. But what I was saying about there being different ways of trusting, and different people who you trust in different ways. And I mean, you can get deeper into subtleties of trust and stuff. But yeah, you don't simply trust some people or not. Well, no, I don't anyway. I have a myriad, a long list of considerations about the trust in a given situation. Okay, that's the Peter Vincent part 2 to put it right and say what a good man he was, you know. And it's better to be a good man than it is to be a clever man, you know that.